Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome all of you to Central Great Lakes region of Women's League for Conservative Judaism's opening program, New Beginnings, Sisters Growing, Learning, Inspiring, which features training for our affiliates. First, I want to start by thanking the committee of Sandy Carlton, Rebecca Goldwasser, Robin Lash, Gilda Schwartz, and Linda Wolf, who are also presenters. I also would like to thank our presenters, Rabbi Shana Potter-Jaffe, Debbie Lempert, Margie Miller, Lamar Wasserman, and Heidi Weissman. Zoom and technology have changed our world in the way we do business. I look back to the days when we had annual conferences and did all the training in person with workshops for presidents and executive board members. I know at least in the Chicago area, region or branch officers led the training. That part remains the same. Because of technology, our reach is so much greater. You don't have to drive or stay overnight, just turn on your computer. We've learned over the years to focus in on the things that are important for us to succeed in strengthening the affiliates. We want you to succeed and hope to give you the tools to do so. We remain committed to promoting Jewish life and values, serving our communities, and looking toward the future. I'm honored also today to bring greetings from Julia Loeb, International President of WLCJ, who's unable to be with us today. At this time, I'd like to call on Rebecca Goldwasser, our Torah Fund Vice President, to introduce our speaker.
Hi, everyone. I have the pleasure of introducing Rabbi Shana Potter-Jaffe. She is the Rockburn Academy's Director of Jewish Life and Learning. She also serves as the Rabbi of Temple B'nai Israel in Monroe, Michigan. Rabbi Jaffe has been a rabbi in residence for Rockdale Temple and was the founding director of Jewish Life at the Meyerson JCC in Cincinnati, where she piloted a number of educational, community building, and social justice projects that helped people of all backgrounds connect to Judaism. Rabbi Jaffe is a proud member of Adif Israel Congregation. She received rabbinic ordination through HUC-JAR in Cincinnati. She loves watching a good HGTV show on tiny house living and reading a variety of cookbooks. Most importantly, Rabbi Jaffe is a proud mom to Maya and Noah Jaffe, caregiver to Slinky the super dog, and married to Brian Jaffe. Rabbi Jaffe, take it away.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much, Rebecca, for having me be part of this. And really, shalom to everybody. It is an honor to be part of this wonderful gathering of women of conservative Judaism. I am grateful for what you do and for the ways in which you connect to one another and help strengthen each other and really strengthen our Jewish community because of the backbone that you provide to our whole community. Today, and so when Rebecca reached out to me in July, I couldn't say no because this is what matters. And I'm greeting you today. I'm with my family, actually visiting my husband's family in Oberlin, Ohio. But through these wonders of technology, I get to be with you today. And I, on Friday night, led services for Temple B'nai Israel in Monroe, Michigan, also on Zoom. So this format of being able to be apart but be together is something that I think is unique to this era. And it really speaks to who we are as a people and what it means to build community. And that's a little bit of like how we feel connected to community is part of what I'm going to be speaking about today. As Rebecca mentioned, I work at Rockburn Academy, which is a local Jewish day school in Cincinnati. And through a series of staffing changes this year, I have found myself, in addition to being the principal of the Judaics, to being a classroom teacher. I get to teach fourth grade Jewish studies for the first time ever. I've never taught fourth grade on a day-to-day basis. And it's a pretty steep learning curve, but it's a lot of fun. And at the same time, with so much starting at this time of year, I find myself incredibly grateful that the high holy days are coming a little bit later than usual. And I know that the holidays don't come late, they come right on time. But for all of us here, our start of the school year, the beginning of Women of Conservative Judaism, your year is starting this way. Things are a little bit different than they were, than they normally are at this time of year. Quick poll. I'm sure if somebody wants to unmute themselves, they can. Who knows when Rosh Hashanah is this year? I know Debbie Lempert does. Debbie, when is Rosh Hashanah this year?
Erev is October 2nd.
October 2nd. So like, Limor, is that what you're going to say as well? Yeah. I mean, so the fact that we've got basically all the 2 more weeks in August and all of September before we start this inward focus is kind of a little bit off kilter for me, because right now, normally at this time of year, it's when we start thinking about inwardly focusing. The month of Elul will be starting, and we're supposed to be thinking about our cheshbon nefesh, our personal inventory, sort of taking stock on an individual level of the year that's been and the year that's gone by. And really, that's sort of where we are. But this year, unlike in past years, the calendar is a little bit different for us. So while we're here in the middle of August, we're actually still in the month of Av. And that's where I'd like to start sharing a little bit about where we are just in the Jewish calendar. And so I'm going to share my screen with you now. And let me know if anything's being blocked by different things. Just feel free to unmute yourself and say it. But right now we are in the month of Av, and oh, excuse me. Hold on one second. I'm having a little bit of a technical difficulty all of a sudden with my screen. Guess what? You just get me. Just the slides are, my PowerPoint is frozen for some reason. I don't know what's going on. This week, in this past week, we commemorated the holiday of Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av. And in that holiday, it commemorates the destruction of the first and second temples in Jerusalem, something that used to me to feel so esoteric. And frankly, if you're in Jewish summer camp, if you're at Camp Ramah or other places, the way that Tisha B'Av is observed is sometimes people will fast, but other times people will just eat some tomato soup. But it's a little bit of it's much more of a theoretical holiday than a visceral holiday. We know that this holiday commemorates the destruction of the first and second temples in Jerusalem. And since then, all sorts of aspects have been, tragedies of Israel have been ascribed to these days. But after the ancient days of the destruction of place, I understood this throughout the years of Tisha B'Av as a day that commemorates not just the destruction of a physical place of the temples, but also of human beings, of the Jewish community pulling apart from one another, of focusing on sinat chinam, of baseless hatred that would move us from one place to the next, and that left us vulnerable to the injuries that were brought on us by other people. And that's how I understood it. I understood that it was a lesson to us every year on this 9th of Av, that we are supposed to try to find ways to stay in community with the rest of the Jewish community, to stay in conversation, even when we disagreed. And even last year, as the protests in Israel roiled across the country, and as people had different opinions about what the government should or shouldn't be doing, this idea of staying in conversation, staying connected to others was part of the heart and soul of what I took from Tisha B'Av. But this year was a little bit different. I don't know how many of you regularly go to the synagogue on Tisha B'Av. I don't know if there's a show of hands about that. This year, Debbie and I actually sat next to each other in the sanctuary. And if I had my slides, what you would see is just depictions of this, is that what's very common, especially on the evening of Tisha B'Av, is that you go into a synagogue and the lights are low. And in fact, sometimes the lights are so low that you need a candle or a flashlight to be able to see the book that you will be reading from. And we sit on the floor because we're reenacting the sense of mourning. And I always understood this as a way of trying to feel what our ancient ancestors felt as the first temple was destroyed and the second temple was destroyed. But this year was different. This year, as I sat on the floor of the sanctuary and I held a flashlight and I opened up the book of Lamentations, the words from Lamentations hit me in a different way. In chapter 1 of Lamentations, we read, "Bitterly she weeps in the night, her cheeks wet with tears. There is none to comfort her. All of her friends, all of her allies have betrayed her. They have become her foes. When she settled among the nations, she found no rest. All her pursuers overtook her in the narrow places." And as I listened to these words and I thought back to October 7th, and I thought ahead to the impending news from Iran, where our brothers and sisters are waiting with bated breath, and really we and citizens of the world are waiting to see what is going to happen in the Middle East. What is going to happen? These words rang differently. Zion spreads out her hands. She has none to comfort her. The Lord has summoned Jacob, all of his enemies about him. They have ravished the women of Zion, maidens in the town of Judah. Princes have been hanged by them, and no respect has been shown to the elders. And as I heard these words, I understood my ancestors in such a different way. I understood in a different way the sense of vulnerability, this existential sense of dread, and this wondering of how we continue. Does anybody know what the name of Lamentations is in Hebrew, what we call it? You can unmute yourself. Go ahead. I think I see Esther's hand raised.
Megillat Eicha.
Eicha, exactly. Eicha. And Eicha means in English, how? How? But it's not that we start the book of Eicha and then how, and then it continues with a sentence. Eicha is an exclamation, how? And it's really up to us to fill in the rest. How can humanity be so vengeful against one another? How does a God do this to its people? How do we survive the pain and agony of this moment? How does the modern country of Israel survive? And this holiday of Tisha B'Av is an opportunity to grieve together. And in fact, we are supposed to focus not on our cheshbon nefesh, not on our individuals' sakes, but who we are as a people. When we get to Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, we'll be focused on ourselves and how we relate as a person to ourselves. But in the heat of the summer and in this month of Av, it's not time to focus on our individual struggles, but to consider oneself deeply connected to the rest of the Jewish community, to Jews around the world, to all who have been before us and all who have ever been. This holiday, this day of memory, is called Tisha B'Av. It requires memory. One of my teachers, Abraham Infeld, said there's actually no such thing as Jewish history, only Jewish memory. And that to be a Jew is to remember, and is to remember in a personal way. And the work of Tisha B'Av, of the 9th of Av, is to put one time and one place on the calendar to remember and to mourn together. And I think in some ways that's why we've ascribed other tragedies to this date, because if we were to every day note these different tragedies, it could overwhelm us. But to have one time where we all are in that space together, that's powerful. But even as we hold our breath, even on this Tisha B'Av, as we wait, and we waited for news about what is going to happen with Iran, with its proxies, with the existential state of Israel, the calendar moves forward. And this evening, 6 days after Tisha B'Av, we're now entering Tu B'Av. And just a lesson in Gematria, it's the 15th of the month of Av. But if you take a tet and you take a vav and you add them up, 9 and 6 makes 15, which is the 15th of the month of Av. Just like we have Tu B'Shvat, it's the 15th of the month of Shvat. Tu B'Av is the 15th of the month of Av. So we've left the 9th of Av and we've moved to the 15th of Av, and tonight is a holiday of love. It's what some people in shorthand will say is the Jewish Valentine's Day. It dates back to the time of the ancient temple. We go back in our memory again, to the time of the grape harvest. And it is said that actually on Tu B'Av, it's the one time a year when the Israelite tribes, when people from different tribes could marry one another. So it was this amazing day of just like, of hope and of possibility. And a matchmaking festival used to be held. Young women would dress in white. They would go into the vineyards, and all the unmarried men of the villages would come there, and they would come to find a wife. And the Talmud tells us that the women would call out to the men who were looking upon them as they danced, "Young men, please lift up your eyes and see and choose for yourself a wife. Do not set your eyes towards beauty, but set your eyes towards a good family." One of the first major revivals of this celebration came in the 1900s with a Beit Yaakov movement. It was a movement to educate Orthodox Jewish girls, and it's in Eastern Europe. Tu B'Av became this festival in the woods in Poland. Young women and men would dress in white and they would dance in the woods, and it was described as a mystical time. And then during the Ottoman Empire, in the time of the Yishuv in Israel, there were week-long festivals throughout the pre-state Israel, and the celebration of Tu B'Av was filled with balls and of festivals. And now in Israel, it's still not as celebrated as Valentine's Day, but restaurants definitely have Tu B'Av menus, and concerts happen, and it's a celebration of love and a celebration of hope. Couples give each other flowers and chocolates. There's numerous events nationwide to offer romantic experience packages. Many Israeli artists schedule performances. Couples will go out to dinner. The question is, even on this Tu B'Av, people are celebrating, people are sharing love and longing and missing and also hope. And we know that nothing in our Jewish calendar is without meaning. So we ask ourselves, what is the connection between the 9th of Av and the 15th of Av? The mourning and remembering of the hostages still held captive continues. We know that all is not right. We know that we are holding our breath. The fighting in Gaza and in the north, the threats by Iran and its proxies continue. And in Israel, life goes on. And here, life goes on. Sisterhoods gather to bring sisterhood to one another. Couples get married in here and in Israel. I had some beautiful pictures of soldiers in their IDF uniforms under the chuppah getting married and going back to protect our country and our people. As we begin our year together, as 5785 beckons, we live in this word of echa, of how. How do we find meaning in times of trepidation? How do we lean into opportunities to learn with one another, to laugh with one another, to pray with one another, to build together? How do we continue moving forward? And how do we begin this year while continuing to remember? And I don't have all the answers, but I know that part of it is by finding community, finding connection with one another. And so today, as you start your convention together, as the women of conservative Judaism, you're holding each other up, you're making space for one another, and you're building so much for our Jewish community and our Jewish people. So this evening, I will wish you a happy Tu B'Av, a Tu B'Av Sameach, a day filled with love and with kindness and with hope. And that is my wish for you today. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Well, next we will go into our breakout rooms. And the president's room will be led by Margie Miller. She will be presenting about president training for those in the role of president, specifically those who weren't able to attend the Region Spring Conference in April. Program and Education Committee will be led by Linda Wolf and Gilda Schwartz. We will present steps involved in program and education planning. Rebecca Goldwasser will discuss the new Torah Fund campaign and strategies for affiliates to achieve their goals. Membership will be presented by Sandy Carlton. She will discuss how to retain and recruit new members. Fundraising, Robin Lash and Heidi Weissman. They will discuss strategies and ideas for successful fundraising for your affiliates. Treasurer Financial Secretary Lamore Wasserman, the Women's League Budget Chair. She will discuss and explore electronic banking and payment methods, how to determine what works best for your affiliate. And this will include understanding banking fees, utilization of QR codes, databases, and electronic record keeping. And leadership will be presented by Debbie Lempert, who will discuss team building and committee dynamics. And we will be sent into our breakout room shortly.
Well, we'll talk about it a little bit, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, our breakout sessions are supposed to last 45 minutes. I do not think we will, fundraising will take 45 minutes.
I hope there's more than 3 of us.
I don't think so.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You were both the only ones I saw sign up.
Oh, okay.
But I did prepare something, so I'll go ahead and share it anyways. But-
Sure. Ready.
all right. All right. And I will
Ooh,
say,
PowerPoint.
yeah.
Impressive.
Well, Margie was very helpful. I took her original presentation and updated it and added it for today because it had been a while since she had done that. So I was really grateful to
Is
have.
there a way to make it bigger? Or
Yeah.
not? Okay. There we go. My eyesight is not the best.
All right. So, I thought we'd have an interactive conversation with all 3 of us. So when somebody says, "Oh, we need to fundraise," or "We have to have a fundraiser," like what words come to mind to you?
Planning, committees, ideas.
Laurel, what about you?
Part of what you asked cut out on my computer.
That's okay. So when somebody says, "Oh, fundraising" or "fundraiser," what words come to mind?
Oh my God, who's going to be in charge?
That's a good one. Yes. Yeah. I mean, I think that a lot of people, when they're asked to participate in a fundraiser, or be on a committee, or, "Oh, I'm going to ask you to be a part of the other side of it," people they shy away. And, that's just the nature of life. I mean, fundraising is not for everybody. But it's important to our existence, not only for your own affiliate so that, you can do things and projects that you would like to do for your synagogue, for your community, but, also supporting Torah Fund and, other items. So there's a lot of reasons to have a fundraiser, and this is just some of the ones, that I came up with. Whichever the beginning result is, I really think that the last one really resonates, is that when you make a connection during a fundraiser, you don't want it just to be a one-time thing. I mean, I think that even if it's a small event, you want to build a relationship with each time and continue that relationship. And so they become your lifelong supporters. And I think the Jewish community recently across the country has really taken that to heart, where, you can now, oh my God, my mind just went blank. You can do the giving, from your wills, so that,
Right. Legacy
we're connected.
giving.
Legacy, thank you. We're continued to be, connected to our organizations, through our lifetime and through our next generation's lifetime. So I don't see that in too many other communities outside of the Jewish community. I don't know about both of you, but I think it's very unique how we try and how we're trying to continue our organizations past us.
Right.
Oops.
So that's kind of like, we started out with planting trees in Israel, blue boxes. And, if I don't plant a tree now, it's not going to be there 70 years from now for my kids or my grandkids or my great grandkids to see. And I think it's just inherent in the Jewish people.
I agree. It's so much. Yeah. I'm not usually the one that shies away, and I can send you both this presentation afterwards.
Oh, thank
If
you.
you'd like. So again, I mean, when you have a successful event, it is, depending on the size of your event, it can be small, it can be big, but it does bring in people as far as it develops people, as far as leadership. It really can grow your volunteer base, because sometimes it's just a really easy item to ask somebody to get involved with. And so I think that, at least for us, that's what has made a lot of our fundraising successful.
Well, it's also a way to have a one-time participation, somebody that's new or somebody that's not sure how much time they have, giving them a small job on a fundraiser is an easy way.
Right. So obviously the ideal fundraiser is you want it to be the lowest cost possible for the best outcome with as little work as possible, because you want to make sure that at the end you raise the funds that you set your goal to, and you've educated folks probably in some way. I think most of our fundraisers are tied to something at the synagogue. I don't know how your fundraisers are, but I think that certainly helps. This is definitely a Margie slide here. You never want to lose money.
Right.
Make sure it's something that's worthy of everybody's time. Somebody may come for the event, but you want to make sure that they leave understanding the cause. We get that a lot with Torah Fund, because our Torah Fund, our big honors somebody. And so a lot of people come to our Torah Fund event because of the honoree, but we want them to leave understanding that, Torah Fund isn't about buying Torahs as much as we'd like people to think. I mean, I don't know. People always are asking me.
We've tried for years to come up with a different way to promote it. And Torah Fund still takes care of, it's basically, giving scholarships to people that teach Torah.
Right.
To everybody.
Yep. So, that's always our goal, that people come away from it. So the 4 P's of that I look at in fearless fundraising is planning, which I heard you mention already. Planting, which is not necessarily physically planting trees, but planting the ideas.
Right.
Preaching, which is probably the area most people don't like, because preaching really involves getting the word out there. Like, this is our fundraiser, this is what we're doing, and we need your participation. We need you to go online and purchase your Mishalach Mano, or, we need you to come to this event. It's really, or if it's just a fundraising campaign, I need you to make your commitment. So it's really, I think, the area of the P's that people don't like. And then I think praising also gets missed a lot. We forget to thank our participants, our donors, or we thank them through a thank you note, and it's kind of one and done. And we don't contact them again. And it's also praising your committee and the people that helped you put the event together. But praising, also, I think, sometimes gets dropped at the end. And then, you know, you can always ask for people to help underwrite your events and get items donated. I manage our Judaica shop. I get asked for donations all the time, not just by my own sisterhood, but I get asked to donate to like the JCC golf outing and like all kinds of events around the city that the Jewish community has. So I listed what our successful fundraisers are, and then I'd like to hear from both of you. So we had a kitchen shower. So a number of years back, our kitchen in the religious school needed to be updated. And our event, I almost think it was opening event, and we had a kitchen shower. They went and registered, and everybody came and provided and restocked the kitchen in small appliances, pots, pans, like everything you could think of, mixing bowls, knives, everything was on there. And so it's a fun event. And it's only a one-time commitment, and people also then can give at the level that they're comfortable with. So, you know, somebody might be able to buy a big appliance, but somebody else might not be able to.
Did you have a list of what was needed?
Yes, so we did have the director of the religious school consult with our administration and stuff at the synagogue, and they did a bridal registry basically, so that everybody knew what was needed.
I know, because I'm still in contact with a lot of sisterhoods, with a lot of regions too, that there's sisterhoods that create a list on Amazon or
Right.
Walmart and get people to buy off that, and it's sent to the synagogue.
That is so smart. This was before, I think, that not that Amazon existed, but you know, some of those wish list things on Amazon, because we're going like a good 10 to 15 years back. But yeah, that is so smart. I've seen like the organizations that my kids are involved with do that as well. So I didn't even think about doing that for the sisterhood.
Yeah, I mean, it
Synagogue.
really does work. I mean, it can work for a lot of different programs if you need stuff, or like our social action committee does it for back to school things that they're collecting at the opening event. And it's an easy way to get stuff, because once again, you say you might need 12 of something on a back to school list to supply a classroom, or say a couple of classrooms, but I can only afford 2 of them, and you just buy 2, and then they only need 10 more, and it keeps track of it all. So
I
and you
love
pay like
that idea. That is so great.
the
One of the other things we started a number of years ago, I started this under my presidency, was to add into every social program we have, we also do some sort of social action in the way of fundraising for a organization around the city. And so we sell raffle tickets for everything. And some of the prizes are donated by members within the synagogue. Some are, you know, donated, you know, through our sisterhood. Last year, our opening event was, no, it was 2 years ago. It was like a cocktail. We had somebody come and teach us how to make cocktails. So, you know, we got a couple little, you know, bar sets. This year, I, as the manager of the shop for our opening program, we're having a tea party. And so I donated, you know, an apple honey dish that will go with like 2 or 3 other prizes. I know some people have 50-50 split the pot raffles, but we really want, the money's not for us. We're fundraising for the community. We pick a different organization for each social event. And then a blind auction. So Lori knows about blind auctions. We did
Yeah.
one at conference. Laura, were you at conference?
Not this year.
Okay. So we had quite the large blind auction at conference this year. And every single item that we auctioned was donated by everybody brought stuff, different sisterhoods, and it was here. So a lot of our members brought stuff. But I did this last year as well for just our board. And I think this year I've been asked to expand it. So I get items in the shop that are perfectly usable, but not sellable. They might have a little chip or a little scratch so I take all those items and we do a blind auction with them. We've done it for 2 years, and last year we decided that all the money would go to Torah Fund, and we sent that in. And it was just with the board, but I think I've been asked to sort of expand it. The
Central Great Lakes region has, in the past, for many years, when we were giving mileage reimbursement to come to conferences, if you drove, we would have our white elephant auction during our party, and people would bring stuff. And Wanda was exceedingly creative in making boxes feel really heavy, but they were really little things in the box, or they were really heavy things that
Yep.
I think we even did it at convention, and were hard to take home if you were flying.
Yeah, we tried to be really mindful of that this past conference.
Yeah.
A white elephant auction. Did you have just one gift? White elephant gift?
No.
Many.
People brought gifts, and we said to wrap them, and they were auctioned off, and it was by size and how creative
I
you were with
see.
your wrapping, and you would write a little clue on it usually to
So
say,
very much just like a blind auction. I mean, that's exactly, you're wrapping paper counts, your box size counts, your ribbons,
Yeah, that's
something
what we did
for your
our
home, something
membership.
for your kitchen, something for outdoors, something for gardening.
Yep.
There's a lot of different topics.
Yep. Now, our sisterhood's biggest fundraiser is Mishalach Manot. We partner with a company called Happy Purim. And basically how we do it is we've pre-priced our baskets, and you buy theoretically for a set number of people. If you want to buy for the whole congregation, it's like $320 or $36 or something. But that doesn't mean everyone in the congregation is getting 10 baskets. So everybody gets one basket, and then they get a scroll that shows all the people that bought for them. So this past year, our theme was Ciao Bella, or I forget how they, tied that into Purim, but we had like little red colanders with a red and white dish towel and a small thing of pasta sauce and pasta and bread, like little breadsticks and olive oil, like not big jars or anything, just like little packets. It was enough to make one meal. We've done milk and cookies. We've done a popcorn movie night. We try and keep the cost of the basket under $10. But we raised between $14,000 and $18,000.
How are they delivered?
You have to come to the synagogue and pick it up. Now, for people that like at our nursing home or at the apartment communities that we know people can't really get out and about, we do deliver those. And we know not everybody in the congregation is going to pick one up. So we have like 680 families. We usually make about 300. We've never not had enough. And whatever's left, we donate to the kosher food pantry. I won't say, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I have a question. You say you run the gift shop?
Yes.
this is the experience that we have. We have a gift shop, but number one, there's not enough traffic during the week. And number two is the current climate is what it is. It wasn't what it is 30 years ago. So we have somebody who runs it, whose husband is generous and nice enough. So if somebody calls, they make an appointment to come buy something. How is yours set up?
So, we have volunteers that come in for 2-hour shifts. I think we're open 3 days during a week for 2-hour periods, and I try and leave things for them to do because I know there's not going to be a lot of traffic. We're always open during religious school, on Wednesdays and on Sundays, and then by appointment. We have our volunteers that take appointments, all have access to get like the key fobs to get into the synagogue and can get into the shop. And that's also how we do it. Our traffic ebbs and flows, so we'll get a lot of traffic leading up to the high holidays. We'll get a ton of traffic again at Hanukkah time, and we host a Hanukkah bazaar at our synagogue, actually by the shop, but it's not a fundraiser per se. It's just meant to be a community event. For us, that's a big day for the shop.
Us too, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have an online presence?
We do not yet. I'd like to get to the point where you can make a purchase online, but I don't think I ever want to be in the shipping business. And I say that only because we've had people have called and said, I would like to buy from you, and this is what I'm looking for, or I need to send a present to, and then it gets lost, it gets broken. I just don't want that side of the business. I also try and purchase from merchants and artists that do not sell online. So a lot of what you find in our shop cannot be bought on Amazon and cannot be bought in other places online.
I know one gift
That was my next question.
I know of one gift shop that does let you order online, but you have to make arrangements to pick it up.
And that's what we're considering.
And there's Congregation Beth Shalom in Northbrook, Illinois. They have an online presence, and I believe you get to it through one of the Facebook apps or through Facebook somehow. And one of the, younger people set up the photos of the items and all the prices and all that. Congregation B'nai Zedek in Indianapolis has had an online presence since 2008.
Wow.
And they have a huge Judaica shop that they paid to have as an addition to the synagogue when they added on classrooms. And they're a good one to look at too. Now, I do know that they, at many years ago, had a barcoding system to barcode all their items. So it did their inventory for them and kept track of when they needed to reorder stuff.
So I do have that software. We don't barcode, but we use a platform called Artesian. And so we do put all our inventory in there. And when we do a physical inventory once a year, just like any retail shop, to provide the cost of goods on hand. But I can always look at the inventory as well at any time and point what's in the system.
Okay.
But I usually
I don't know
don't
that
buy
B'nai
more.
Yeshurun has gotten up to that yet, have they?
I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
No barcodes. Have either of you ever done a t-shirt fundraiser?
pre-order.
not.
Yeah, Sharon did it for the Browns. Sisterhood did it for the Browns.
Yeah, I know, we did it for the Browns, yeah. It did okay. It was a lot of work. I'll have to ask Bonnie about the numbers.
Was it a t-shirt fundraiser where folks had to pre-order the t-shirts?
Yes,
You didn't have stock.
Right.
Okay.
because of the
But weren't
size.
there minimum quantities?
Pardon?
Weren't there minimum quantities you had to order?
One. I believe it was one.
Okay.
Yeah, I know of a platform as well that I mean you can order as little as one, but usually to get any fundraising dollars, you have your minimum is 10.
Yeah.
And then the more product you sell, the greater the profit margin for you becomes.
Yeah. Now you got me thinking of selling mugs. What else? What else could you do?
Stickers, like the magnetic stickers for your car. You can do, does B'nai Assurance still give reusable bags to the religious school kids?
Yes. They give it with the I always mispronounce the bags.
Shalach manas.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. In fact, I just sent some of mine to recycling to Goodwill because I have so many. Yeah.
So
Those
you
are also good things.
Laurel,
Those are
bag
also good
shop?
things to give to like the kosher food bank,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
reusable bags.
We are using reusable bags right now in the shop only because we had ordered to use them for Michelle Humanot a number of years ago, and it didn't work for our packaging. And
Uh-huh.
so they gave them to me in the shop, and they say, Addith Israel Sisterhood and have our logo on it. But all our bags used to be plastic. And as we are running through them, everything that the bags I'm using now are from recycled paper. We have a green initiative at our congregation. So tell me about some of the things you do for fundraising.
Laurel, that's you.
Oh, me. Our biggest fundraiser is the Yitzker book.
Yeah.
And it's been a beautiful thing. Unfortunately, like putting it together doesn't really have a consistent committee because it really takes one person to do all the computer stuff. So it doesn't get mussed up, but that's our biggest fundraiser. And then we published a cookbook last year. And it started out great guns. It's kind of trickled right now, so we'll see how it fares coming up. We've sold about half of what we published. And I have to talk to see if I want to put it with our region because it's so darn heavy. I don't know what the shipping cost is to ship. But those are our fundraisers. We really haven't had a lot of fundraising per se in the past couple of years. Prior to that, when Shirley Haas was president, we made soup and sold soup and challah. And I don't know again what the numbers were, but for me, it was wonderful because that's how I got to know people. It was just working
in the
with them.
kitchen.
It was that to me is priceless. So, yeah. But that's what
Yeah, it's hard these days.
We used to do there used to be, when I was president, we did a horse racing event where there was a company, I believe out of Michigan somewhere, that sent us videos and people bought the horses and paid to name them in the book. And there were videos, and we did a deli night that night, and they paid to put their bets down, and there was like play money, and they won money if their horse won, and that was a big thing. A night at the races, it was called.
Yeah.
I remember.
That
Yeah,
sounds like fun.
Yeah.
that sounds like fun. That
Yeah,
would be fun.
it worked out really well. I can't remember what we made, but you had a good portion of money come in. I think it was $10 a horse to name a horse, and then there were 10 horses per race, and had a bunch of races.
Yeah.
You could look up if they're still around.
That
And
would be fun. And that involves men and women. So that's a good.
correct, it was an evening of men and women. And then we did deli that night. But what other things have we done? Casino nights are tricky, but they have worked in some places. We used to do there used to be, I know the USY used to do a Purim, a Passover cleanup and car wash at the synagogue. if
Oh,
any
wow,
of-
that would be really smart.
And you paid, $10 to get your car washed inside and out. Once again, it's getting the kid power, but they could also get volunteer credit for it.
Right.
And
So question, have you ever run into where, like, I don't know if we could do some of those events that you mentioned because they're fabulous, but I think the synagogue would feel that we were trying to compete with them for their major fundraising event. And so
Yeah.
we often have to stick to, not like the non-event fundraisers, like the Mishloach Manot, or, things that are,
well, for the Mishloach Manot, you can flip that and do something similar for Rosh Hashanah. And
mhm.
there's been a number of congregations that take a picture of like one of their stained glass windows, or a known thing in the synagogue, and have a Rosh Hashanah message printed, and then all the names are added to the card. And there's a way to do that.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Or there's also a big one from Women's League that raises a lot of money called Leograms. And they used to come in pads of paper, but you can also create your own, and which a number of sisterhoods did. And for a minimal amount of money, you could either pay in bulk, like say $25, and you get, I'm going to say, 30 cards, and when the synagogue prints when the birthdays are or the anniversaries are it was birthdays, and all of the women got their birthdays printed in the bulletin. You could send out a card for like $2 a card, and once again their names would be printed in groups on one piece of paper. The first one paid for the Leogram and the mailing, and then the rest were gravy.
I like that too.
I'm
That's
confused. It's a card.
it's a piece of paper. I have it on my computer. I can let me see if I can pick it up here.
Is it something I can Google? You think?
You said it's a women's league program?
It used to be. I don't know if it's still
Okay.
is, but I have the template for making the leograms. I'm just wondering, I'm looking to see if I have the wording on them. It would change, like it says best wishes for a happy birthday, and it would say the sisterhood president and the executive committee, and then you'd have a way of putting in names up to like 30 names, 35, 32 names on the card.
So people would then give a donation to be on that card?
Right. I'm just looking to see if I have a picture of the template of the actual card that I can access, because I have a lot on leograms.
I mean, Lori, if there's something you can send me that we can attach to the presentation,
Right.
right?
Let me just see if I can find the actual leogram.
Okay.
Well, so this is from one sisterhood in Skokie. They would have a list in their bulletin. I'm going to message this to both of you.
Thank you.
Hold on one second. So Heidi. Laurel, I don't have your email.
Oh, it's L Sheldon 05 at sbull.net.
At what?
S as in Sam, B as in boy, C as in candy, global.net.
SBS, yeah, okay. SBCGOLAL.
Have either of you tried to do like the honey for the heart?
Yes, hold on one second. I messed up on Laurel's email. My typing isn't good. Okay, Heidi, I'll send this to you and maybe you'll pass it on here. Let me see if it goes.
Yeah, Lori, what's your email?
LBD 715 at Gmail.
Okay, LBD what?
715.
Oh, it's just LBD.
LBD, like little black dress.
Okay. Oh, I like that.
715 at Gmail.
Okay, I'll just send you like a hello, so you'll have it.
Yeah, somehow this isn't working. Maybe because I'm on, but I'll hold it out. And I don't know why.
Oh, I already have your email.
I don't know why it doesn't say send anywhere. So let's try that. Okay, Heidi, you should have gotten EHNT Ezer Habanim. Something from Ezer Habanim. So that's the list of the names. And then that would go out every month in their bulletin.
Okay.
But they had their names, and now I've got to find where I have a picture of the leogram. But so are you you're done with your presentation?
Pretty much. I mean, there's a couple other slides, but it's just a summary. I can stop sharing.
Okay.
Heidi, what's your email?
My email?
Yes.
I'll give you my personal one. It's WEIS as in Sam, M as in Mary, HD as in David @gmail.
Okay.
First 5 letters of my last name, and then H and D. Yep.
H&D. Okay.
Yep.
Um, so, the program that Laurel talked about, the High Holiday for the Yisker book, that was started by our cantor's wife many years ago,
Mhm.
and has been a huge fundraiser for the sisterhood.
Yeah.
And that's because we pay for the names. Some synagogues don't charge for the names.
Right. We
Oh.
our synagogue does it, and like I think for $18 you get like 4 names, and then it goes up.
Ours is $18 a name.
Oh wow. It's a
Yeah.
lot. I would not have as many names, that's for sure.
Right.
You're lucky. You're very
And
lucky.
then some people, so that's adding pages to the synagogue Yisker book that already lists the plaques and the
Mhm.
all kinds of extra ones with all the prayers and stuff.
Yeah.
It's really nice. Here's one to show you.
Yeah.
It's a
And
beautiful book.
it's a big
Yeah.
book.
Our synagogue does. It's huge. I mean, ours is like, it's 8.5 by 11, like our full size book.
Oh, ours is 8.5, 11 folded.
Okay. And then it's like 40 pages.
We're 62 pages.
Yeah.
And ours is online too.
Oh, that's nice. I don't think they put ours online. I like that.
That may be new.
I would
And-
rather all be
Couple
online
years.
and just print the prayers and save the trees.
Right. Right.
Well,
But I mean, they list the memorial plaques
Hmm.
and stuff, which took off a few names off of my list.
yeah. It's a wonderful thing. In fact, I started volunteering stuffing envelopes because it's fun to sit around with a group of people and just yak and stuff envelopes. And
Right.
then calling people was a good way to meet other congregants. It was terrific.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, I'll look up about Women's League and Leograms. I'm not sure
Thank you.
you can still get the forms, but I do have somewhere on my desk
Yeah.
a picture of them.
So they now B'nai Yeshurun already lists the birthdays, but
Right.
and yeah.
So they could start selling Leograms, as a fundraiser. Let's send out, Sisterhood has a new program. They'd
Yeah.
like to send out a birthday greeting to everybody, to whoever, and you pay $2 a name and they would get this card, this paper card.
It's a beautiful idea.
I like it. 2 years ago, our synagogue started sending out birthday postcards to everybody. And I talked them into putting a coupon at the bottom to the shop. Not that it's really we've only had 2 coupons come in 2 years, but at least people see the name of the shop often.
Right.
So we did use our whole time. I don't know if you guys saw a message flash up, but they're gonna bring us all back together in about 4 more minutes.
Or
Okay.
you could, if you have good people in your group, you could have like a quartet of women, like pay for people to come to your door and sing happy birthday at your front door.
Yeah.
I wonder if
Another synagogue, B'nai Yeshurun, I think, did this many years ago. Sisterhood would get a deal from one of the florists for like a potted plant, flowering plant. and deliver the plants. Now, well, I think it was B'nai Jeshurun, but I've been in so many sisterhoods over the years. Now I can't remember.
It doesn't ring a bell. We sold potted
How long have you
plants.
been in sisterhood though?
I joined like in 2007.
Okay, I go back to 99,
Yeah.
98.
I remember Shirley knows somebody who dropped off in this early spring to hang these potted things that you hang from hooks outside on your porch.
Well, that was maybe
That's
was
different.
a form of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. It's like a florist.
Yeah.
Sign up and
Well,
you
it
don't
was
have
a
to
deal
worry.
cut with one of the florists or one of the smaller florists that people ordered from.
Mm.
I'm on womensleague.org. I can't find out where there's a
Well,
search button.
thank you both for sharing your ideas. I have all kinds of new ones in my head now.
Yeah, me too. And it is like you had mentioned, Heidi, it's what's difficult is a good difficult situation is the synagogue has so much going on that you don't want to compete, you don't want to replicate, and there's a lot of competition, so to say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. We keep waiting for like the synagogue telling us like they're gonna take over Mishalach Manot from us or try to. Just because, I mean, we started it and we've done it 6 years now and it's been so successful.
Well,
But
it's
all
there's
that
a
money goes back to them anyways in the form of us doing projects. So
right. There's also a competition
Absolutely.
between the synagogue, the affiliates, the sisterhoods and the men's club and the school. If you have a school in your building, because some of the schools sell the Passover candy,
yeah,
which the sisterhood used to do. Some of the schools do the Mishla Manot, which some of the sisterhoods do. You know, so you got to be really creative
you
in
do.
coming up
You
with
do.
other ways to
Super creative. Yes. Thank you both so much.
This has been great.
when we get Margie back on, she may know about leograms if they're still available to be purchased.
Okay.
I mean, they were cheap. They were like 1 cent or, you know, $5 for 100 or something. So
All right.
yeah, there's the message.
All right. We're supposed to go back.
53 seconds.
Oh my God,
So,
getting nervous.
but I do the honey here for Hadassah. So if you want to know about the Ort honey, I do know about that.
Okay,
And
I'll connect with you. Because we looked at doing it this year and we just couldn't take anything else on.
the big thing is that to make money, you have to charge like $14
Yeah, see.
or more for a jar, and people are now not wanting to pay that.
It's a
Or
lot.
they have from last year that they haven't used up this year. So I had a person, and you have to sell a minimum of 100 now to get the $4.50 per jar back.
Yeah.
So if everybody can put their cameras on, so we can kind of have some interaction. We're going to kind of go around and introduce yourselves. And some of that, most of you I've met before, but some I have not. I am Rebecca Goldwasser, and I am the current VP of Torah Fund. This is my second term. So I will be VP of Torah Fund for 2 more years. And Andrea Heiger is our Torah Fund support. So you will be getting communications from the 2 of us throughout the next year and a year after that. My affiliate is Adif Israel in Cincinnati. Rabbi Shana Jaffe is a member of my congregation. And if we can then go around and just kind of tell where you guys are from, and if you're new at Torah Fund or if this is something you've been doing. So I'm going to start with Lynn.
My name is Lynn Friedman. I am co-chair of Torah Fund for B'nai Jeshurun congregation in Pepper Pike, Ohio. and I've been probably doing this for about 10 years.
She's very seasoned at this. I'm gonna let Andrea introduce herself.
Oh, hi. I'm Andrea Heiger. I am from Congregation Beth Judea in Long Grove. I was doing it, Torah Fund. I was very involved locally until for about I think about 3 years at that point. No, about five years at that point. And then I started working through Rebecca, more at the regional level.
Thank you. Mindy? You're muted, so you're gonna have to unmute.
Okay, hi. Mindy Salzberg Siegel. I'm an affiliate. My affiliate synagogue is Congregation Shaare Zedek in Southfield, Michigan. And this will be my second year involved with Torah Fund. We had a ton of fun last year, and I hope to continue the fun and the fundraising. And enjoy it again this year. And I'm looking to this group for some inspiration for our event also. So
And we will
thank
have time to do that. So we will have a time to brainstorm and talk about that. So we
We
look
will-
forward
we
to hearing
will.
from everybody.
Okay, great.
Maria?
Yes, thank you. My name is Maria Ponsillo. I'm a member of Sisterhood at North Suburban Synagogue Bethel in Highland Park. I'm new to the role of the Torah Fund Vice President. Very excited to support this important campaign. And I just love the name of this year's campaign. Thank you.
Great. Well, welcome, Maria.
Thank you.
Sherry? You have to unmute.
Okay. Hi, I'm Sherry Blumberg. While I'm new to Torah Fund per se, and part of the Presidium, the whole group of us who are running it for Temple Beth Israel Ner Tamid, I have a long history of connection with the Women of Reform Judaism, as well as now my connection with also the conservative movement. And I once was a professor at HUC in New York.
Oh, well, welcome, Sherry. Awesome.
Thank you. So I love supporting the seminaries.
Awesome. Ellen?
Hi, I'm Ellen Singerman. I'm involved with Torah Fund at Temple Bethel, Congregation Bethel in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. This is my third year as Torah Fund chair, and we had a good year, albeit affected by October 7th. Certainly had an impact on everyone. But we're looking forward to the Am Yisrael Chai program this year. Thank you.
Awesome. Jean?
Hi, I'm happy to be here. Torah Fund has been a big part of our sisterhood fundraising since the outset. Although now we're very, very small. We have a presidium of four people, and we have a membership of about 16. And we do the best we can. We take money from our dues towards Torah Fund and then take donations as well. So it is an important part of our efforts, because we get guest rabbis sometimes, and we definitely access the theological seminary for student and substitute rabbis, who we hire maybe 4 to 5 times a year. So sometimes we get lucky and get somebody who likes us and wants to stay. And we've been very lucky to have people who are very capable join us. So we have lay leadership, but having a guest rabbi or a student rabbi has been a blessing. Thank you very much. Yeah.
And Gina's at OHAV congregation in where that is
in Rockford, Illinois.
Rockford, Illinois. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Rosalind.
I'm Rosalind Jaffe, no relation to the rabbi. I am at Ezra Habonim, Niles Township Jewish Congregation, and so we've sort of abbreviated it to EHNTJC in Skokie, Illinois. I've been VP of Torah Fund, I think, for 4 years. I'd have to go back and figure out how many Torah Fund luncheons and speakers we had before I know exactly how many. We have been doing well, I guess I'd say in spite of some of the feelings of members of the congregation who feel that if you donate to Torah Fund, you're taking the money away from the synagogue. So, I mean, we have gone over our pledges because I can be pretty obnoxious at times, but any ideas I welcome and look forward to.
All right. Well, thank you, Rosalind. Ida?
Hi, I am Ida Yoffe. I am Torah Fund. I provided Torah Fund event for, I think, 5 years. Yeah, already for Bet Hillel B'nai Emunah in Wilmette. And I think our sisterhood looking forward. Last year we have very interesting international speaker from Rabbinical School. It was a very excited event. The people really like it. And we all like to support Torah Fund. It's our future.
All right.
Leaders. Thank you.
So I want to thank you guys all for being here and for all your hard work in advance for Torah Fund. As Women's League Torah Fund, we went over our we made goal last year. We raised $1.2 million.
Wow.
Most of our affiliates did make goal or came close to their goals for last year. So I congratulate you all for working really hard. As most of you have said, this was a trying year with October 7th. But we did. I am going to share my screen. I'm going to go through a PowerPoint. There will be time for questions and answers. There will be time for talking about ideas to share for Torah Fund. I will want to go over a few things. I'm going to go through some things quickly so that you can take back to your affiliates and let them know how things are running this year and give you guys some guideline. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, so most of you, I think, will know that Torah Fund is Women's League's international philanthropy. It's to help raise money for all the seminaries in United States and around the world. Okay,
just a real quick question. Have they ever thought of changing the name? Because when people hear Torah Fund, they think that it's for buying Torahs.
No, they're not going to change the name, unfortunately, Lynn. Okay, so here is all the 5 seminaries that we support. We support, obviously, JTS. Everybody thinks it's just for JTS. It's not. That's where Torah Fund started, but we support all the conservative and Masorti seminaries in the United States and around the world. So here in the United States, we have JTS and we have Ziegler. Then in Jerusalem, we have the Schechter Institute. And then we have Seminary Rabbinico Latin America in Buenos Aires and the Zacharias Frankel College in Germany, in Frankel, Germany. So here is our International Torah Fund leadership. Lori Snow is our International Torah Fund chair, and then Marilyn Berkowitz and Shelley and I'll butcher her name, Swabernat, is part of that vice presidents of Torah Fund. I meet with them every month, and that's where I get my information to give back to you guys. So this is something to remember. Our Torah Fund staff in New York is a very, very small staff. They're mighty in number, but they're small. You have Lisa Paul, who's our CEO of Torah Fund Director, and Cheryl Moss Solomon, who works in the office. They would like you guys, if you're having any problems with your reports, to send it to me, and then I will forward all those challenges and work with their. We get monthly reports. They do not make those reports. Someone in the data collection in JTS does do those reports. Unfortunately, they're not always predictable of when they're going to come, but I have no control of when those reports come. If you do need an extra report, like if you're having your event and you want an updated report, if you let the office know 3 weeks in advance, they will give you an extra report. This is also, remember, the Torah Fund office is not located in Women's League. Women's League is a totally separate office and separate company. With Torah Fund office, this is, and I'm going to send you out my slides, so don't feel that you need to write anything down, is located separately, and it's located at JTS. So, as most of you said, our theme for this year is Am Yisrael Chai. That is our general campaign. That is what your goal is set for, is that general campaign. And that general campaign goes and to all the 5 seminary. And for those who have done fundraising before, it is an unrestricted fund that supports all those 5 seminaries. This is our pin for this year, and it's Am Yisrael Chai. And that is our flyer, and I'm going to show you where everything is located. The sad news that well, there's good news. Good news is that the pins are made in Israel. We have an artist in Israel that makes our pins, but due to the everything that's going on in the war, we will not be getting our pins in the United States before mid-September. The packing day, which was supposed to be at next week, has now been changed to September 10th. So the earliest you're going to get your pins is that 3rd week of September. That's still before the high holidays, but I know, like, for my affiliate, our opening event is September 8th, and we will not have them yet for that. So that is an unfortunate situation, but that is there is nothing we can do about that. So I would like to talk about creating new spaces. Creating new spaces is a second fund of Torah Fund. It is a restricted fund. It was started by Carol Simon, and the purpose of this fund was to for 2 projects. One at JTS, which is Women's League study space in the new undergraduate resident hall. And then at Ziegler, there's a Women's League Institute on Gender Bias and Harassment. The goal of this campaign was $200,000. It will end when we reach that $200,000, and we are $22,000 away from that campaign. And we raised about $25,000 this year in the Creating New Spaces campaign. So we're getting close, and we're there. When I share my screen to show you where you can make online donations, you do need to be careful, because, and I'll show you when we're there, is that in the drop down, you have to make sure you create, if you're only doing it for the general campaign, you need to make sure you select Am Yisrael Chai or the Creating Spaces campaign. So that can get confusing a little bit. So Legacy Society is basically a planned giving initiative. It is basically kind of deciding if you would like to leave something to Torah Fund after you're no longer here on this planet. and supporting our higher institutions even after you're not here. I did decide to do Legacy Society, and if anybody does decide to do Legacy Society, you get a charm that you can put on your Torah Fund pin every year. It comes off and you can just add it from there. If anybody's interested or you want more information about Legacy Society, I am happy to get that for you. Okay. So we are our Torah Fund fundraisers. We as affiliates and sisterhoods, our volunteers, we are the ones who help raise those funds for Torah Fund. We do that through our campaign letters, e-blasts, newsletters, videos. I'm going to show you some videos, events, our e-cards, and our donor different giving levels. So I'm going to come back to that. So we talked about student speakers. You can get a student speaker for any of your events. You can get a cantorial student who will be happy to sing. You can get a student to speak. As far as I know, unless I've been told otherwise, they are still virtual. We are not bringing them in. You have to have them speak or sing via Zoom. There is a $200 honorarium that your affiliate would pay. But we've done that for the region. They are just amazing to have them because they can speak about Torah Fund from the heart. If you want one from a student from Ziegler, you would contact Rabbi Brad Artson. And if you would like to request one from JTS, you would contact Lisa Paul. You need to give them about 3 months notice. It does take them a while to find those speakers and arrange those speakers. So please give them time. I did okay, so I do want to talk about the videos. There is sorry guys, I'm sorry that my slideshow is not really working. Okay, so I'm going to show, hopefully, I'm going to stop sharing and then I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to go to, I am going to go to JTS website and I'm going to show you something. Okay. So there's two resources. One is the Women's League's website, and the other one is JTS. So here I'm on JTS's website, and I wanted to show you where the video collection is. So here are all these videos. You can find videos and you guys can download them, and they are videos from all the different seminaries. There are Chancellor Shuli Rubin has a speech that you can present to, and you can make these a part of your Torah Fund events. So these are free to you. They are located on the JTS website. They are not on the Women's League website. So that is something to just so you know. But those are free to you for you to use at any events. I am going to, while we're here, I'm going to show you the online donation. No, that is not where I wanted it to be. So sorry. That's Okay, does everybody see this online donation page?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Lynn.
Yeah.
So we encourage everyone to do online donations. I know that not everybody in your affiliates will be comfortable to do online donations. It's the easiest way to make a donation. It's the easiest way to make sure the Torah Fund office gets the donations. But I know that not everybody is comfortable with that. Here are the different levels of giving there. You will get pins for the benefactor level of 180, and you'll also, if you requested it, you got Guardian. Anything above that comes directly from the Torah Fund office. Most of you will do one-time givings. You can dedicate it in honor or in memory of someone. So see this drop down here? It says Torah Fund Am Yisrael campaign or Torah Fund Creating New Spaces. You need to let your affiliate members to make sure that they click on the Am Yisrael campaign, because if not, it'll come out into your new spaces. And when you look at your Torah Fund reports that I or Andrea send you every month, if you think someone was giving at $180 level and it comes up at Creating New Spaces campaign, please let me know if you think it should be the Am Yisrael campaign, because this Creating New Spaces does not go towards your Torah Fund goal. Okay, so that is an often a mistake that many people make. The other most common mistake and why you get errors in your Torah Fund reports is
Your affiliate.
Your affiliate. So here it says, what is your name of affiliate? And Lynn, just like Lynn was about to say, there's no asterisk here. There is not a required field. So if your affiliate members do not put your affiliate in it, it goes on just any report, or their gift is there, but it's not going to be on your report. That is the most common mistake if an online donation, if it doesn't show up on your report. One of my other Torah Fund VPs has made a suggestion, is that they're going to get an automatic receipt if they make an online donation. It is a suggestion that that person forward you that receipt. That way you know that that person made that donation, because you get a copy of that receipt. And that way you don't have to wait till the report is made. Does anybody have any other questions or comments about the online donation before we go on to anything else? Okay. I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint. Do you guys see my PowerPoint, or do I need to reshare? Lynn, do you see it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Where else?
I see the one with all the pictures of the people.
Okay, great. That's exactly what I want you to see there. Okay.
Oh, it just changed.
Yep, I changed it on purpose. That's perfect. Okay, so one of the events Torah Fund does is the Torah Fund Stands with Israel. So we are still going ahead and doing those events. Just wanted you to let you know. The next thing I want to talk about are e-cards and paper greeting cards. So the Torah Fund e-cards, you can get that on the Women's League website or from JTS. I actually will get show you. These are the e-cards. So we have had some new artists and new e-cards, and there will be a new Rosh Hashanah e-card. It's not up here yet, but these are beautiful cards that can be sent. They're for all purpose, condolences, mazel tovs, Hanukkah, all kinds of things, baby namings. So each of these cards is $5. And this does go towards your goal. It is not on your monthly reports. I get these numbers quarterly. And then at the end, I add it to your goal. So you're not going to see these on your reports, but this is just another way for people to give to Torah Fund and add to your goal.
Where can I get a copy of those?
These are e-cards.
I know.
Not, okay. We're gonna talk about paper greeting cards in just a second.
No, the e-cards.
E-cards.
I want to be.
Go ahead, Lynn. What's your question? Say that again.
I want to be able to show them what the e-cards look like when we have our meetings. Where can I get a copy of all the e-cards?
You can go to the website. I'm going to send you my PowerPoint. This is the website, HTTPS Torah Fund e-cards. So you can use my PowerPoint and show it to them. The link does work when it's going live. So you just would have to link on it and it will go there.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so there is e-cards, paper greeting cards. I know a lot of affiliates still like paper greeting cards. They are finally going to make new paper greeting cards. There is a new one coming up, and haven't gotten the advertisement yet. There will be one for Rosh Hashanah. The greeting card form, and we'll go to the Women's League website, is located on the Women's League website. You have to pay for them in advance before you get them to your affiliate. They used to be 25 cents per card. They are going up to $1 per card. Then it's up to you. The suggested amount to sell the paper greeting cards is $5 per card, but that's up to you what you guys want to sell it at, because you're buying them in advance. You are buying them in advance.
Just got my order.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions about e-cards or paper greeting cards?
I do.
Yes.
The condolence cards, the Psalm 23 and Psalm 42.
Yeah.
People don't like those because they're too wordy, and you can't really read the words because they're too small.
Yeah. I know that Lisa has been reluctant to replace any of the e-cards, or the paper greeting cards. She is finally adding to with a Rosh Hashanah one. I don't see her really changing them at all, unfortunately, Lynn. I wish I could say she really was trying to go away from paper greeting cards, but she found that she couldn't. So maybe slowly she will change more, but right now she's adding one, and hopefully she'll change some more as well.
Because I know that my sisterhood, for the most part, likes the paper ones because they like to be able to send them so that somebody has something in their hand to read. So, okay.
Yeah, I mean, Lisa is very much about electronic and the there. She got a lot of pushback, and she has gone with some of it, but yeah, unfortunately she hasn't been as willing to do that.
Rebecca, when will the new Rosh Hashanah cards be available?
So I'm hoping I'll find out on Tuesday. I have a Torah Fund meeting on Tuesday, and I'll be able to send you out that information as soon as I know it.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So just to give you a heads up, I get information the third Tuesday of every month. And that's when we get our updates. So we have a monthly Torah Fund meeting. So hopefully she'll have information to be able to give us on that. Okay. So for your donors, you can give online. You can give credit card. If your affiliate member does want to do a credit card, they can call Cheryl, and Cheryl will take the credit card over the phone, but do not send it on transmittal forms. So I will show you the transmittal form in just a second. So just remember, if you send a check from your sisterhood, from say if I send a check from Adath Israel, a congregation, and if I send it from there, your individual members are not being recognized and are not getting credit for giving to Torah Fund. So if they make a check out to Adath Israel for Torah Fund, and then I send a check from Addith Israel Sisterhood, they are not getting they are not getting individual credit. And the Torah Fund office cannot send them a tax receipt at all. It is suggested that you can, as an affiliate, collect checks. They should make them out to Torah Fund. Then you should put them on the transmittal form and send everything to JTS and at this air. I do recommend that you do it with tracking. There have been a lot of checks lost. Our US Postal Office is not as well as we can trust it anymore. So if we can track it, then we know kind of what happens to it. We ask if you collect checks, please don't sit on those checks for 6 months. Try to send them every 2 to 3 months, because then your donors are not going to be very happy because they don't clear very fast. This is your transmittal form, and I again will show it to you where it can be where you can find it on Women's League's website. You're going to fill this out. You're going to send a copy to me either via email or mail, and then send it to all of them with to JTS. Any questions regarding that? Okay, this is going to be confusing. There are some people who like to give to Torah Fund from their IRA or from a trust. So this works a little bit different. So the checks from the financial institutions cannot be made out to Torah Fund because Torah Fund uses the same tax ID as JTS. So they need to make them out to the Jewish Theological Seminary. And then in their memo of that check, it should be Torah Fund. And they're going to send it to JTS, attention to Torah Fund. But Lisa does say, and Gerald, for them to send an email directly to the Torah Fund office, letting them know a check is coming from a financial institution, because they need to go over to JTS to get that. So does that make sense?
No.
Who has questions?
Can you go over that again? Because I do have some people that do it from a trust fund.
Okay, so if you have a donor who's giving from a trust or an IRA, they have to give it to someone who to the organization that has that tax ID number. Torah Fund's tax ID does not have a separate Torah Fund ID. It has to be made out to the JTS because that's the institution with the tax ID number. Does that make sense?
So they make it out to Jewish Theological Seminary and they use this tax number that's on here?
Yep. And again, I'm going to send you these information. And in the memo of that check, they need to say it's for Torah Fund, and they probably want to put their affiliate in that memo as well. And then you want to send they want to send the check to attention to JTS, attention Torah Fund, and then they want to send an email to the Torah Fund office, letting them know that a check is coming from an institution.
Is that the same address as the 3080 Broadway?
Yes.
And
what's the email address that they use?
It is, I will get you that because I didn't write that in my slides, but Len, I will get you that. There is a Torah Fund email.
And can it still go in the same transmittal?
No, they're going to send it directly. They're not going to send it. It doesn't go on the transmittal. It gets sent directly.
And it's not
Yeah,
shared.
yeah, it's getting sent straight from that financial institution.
Okay.
So they have to let us know so that they can get credit.
That's why in that memo, they should also put the affiliate, and also in their email to the Torah Fund, they should also say this is for what affiliate. It's very confusing, and a lot of times these financial checks get lost or get confused. But it's unfortunately with the tax ID number, it is something that we have to do appropriately.
Okay.
All good questions, guys. Okay, so you guys are going to get monthly tour fund reports. Andrea and I send you the sisterhood summary by tender, or the donor detail by tender report. We only send you one of these reports because you don't need all of them. So I get all of them. You do not need all of them. You'll be able to then go back and kind of look at them and make sure your records are correct. This is how you know if you're missing a donation, or if a donation is not correct, or if someone said I made a donation. And if something is incorrect, please send it to me, and then I will forward it to Lisa and Cheryl. So that way Lisa and Cheryl don't get a thousand emails from everybody else. They would like them from the tour fund vice presidents. Okay. I will, when I forward it, or I send something to Cheryl or Lisa, I copy you guys on it. So you'll see that I will have copied you on it.
Sorry, I have a question.
Oh, no, Lynn, you're fine. I'm glad
All
you
right.
have questions.
We have a couple people in our congregation that are affiliated with more than one synagogue. And I had a problem, well, not a problem. I had a situation a couple years ago where I sent the check in from my sisterhood, but her credit went to a different affiliate, and I had a call and we had to get it all straightened out because we wanted her donation to go to our goal.
But so she can only have one tour fund account. So they have to decide which affiliate they're going towards. So they can only have one tour fund account. So they can't support both affiliates. That's what I've been told. I can double check with Cheryl and Lisa, but that's what I've been told.
So even if it goes on my transmittal,
if she's no longer I'll clarify that, Lynn, with there. I believe I have to clarify that. Okay.
I know that we still have some members who are still affiliated with two synagogues.
Okay, let me ask. That's a good question, and I will ask how that works.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah. Any other questions? I'm going to go to the Women's League website, so I can show you guys.
I have a question. I put it in the chat.
Oh, well, can you ask it to me right now?
Yeah, sure. Who gets this report that you send out monthly?
Mindy, you're a co-chair with who?
With Susan Olenek.
So I've been sending it just to Susan, but I am going to add you to it, so you'll get it.
Okay, because I never saw the report.
Yeah, I apologize.
That's okay. I just wondered
Susan was getting it. Yeah,
because we had a lot of back and forth last year. So
yeah, you guys did, but yeah,
yeah, we did. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Maria, ask a question. Go for it.
Yes, thank you. Will you have, will we receive these Torah Fund cards with the pins so that we can put a note, or how do we?
You have to order those. They're free, but you have to email the office or call the office how many you would like, and they are free.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So everybody of you guys should have a login to the Women's League website. You guys are members, so whatever your membership login is, you should be able to log into it. And once you're logged in, you see where it says download for Women's League member materials. This is what, if you go in here, and then there is a whole thing on Torah Fund. Okay, so sometimes you have to scroll through that Lisa does not like. If it pertained to all the campaigns, sometimes you have to open several years. But there's a Torah Fund e-card flyer. that you guys can send out to your affiliate. Sorry, I couldn't finish my sentence. So it's a beautiful flyer that's located there.
That's just that's just the new ones.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, those are, she wants it, she's promoting the new ones. There is, here is where you can get the Am Yisrael Chai flyer if you want like to print it out for your events, or if you want them on a counter in your synagogue, so you can get that. Here is where that transmittal form is located. So you can download it and save it to your computers, and then you can just send it to me via email, or some people have mailed them to me, but you can do it, whatever is there. Here are pictures of our of the pins. So if you want them in a newsletter, they're all there. So I think that's the main things. There was, I will have to find you I thought there is a tour. Oh, they have not done the Torah Fund brochure for this year. So that will come out for the, that. And also anything information about Legacy Society is located here. Hadoshot is the Torah Fund newsletter. They're always located here. These videos are not the videos I showed you. So let me just show you this because I just found it. So the under Torah Fund Evergreen Materials, you have to scroll it all the way down, is where the Torah Fund paper greeting card form is located. So this is the Torah Fund order form that you can send to the office. Again, they will not send it to you until they receive payment. So you can call over the phone and give them your credit card, or you can send print this off and send this with, send it with a check.
I can see that this costs still 25 cents and you
Yeah,
were talking.
I said they right now it is 25 cents, Ida. It's going up. So when the Rosh Hashanah card is done, that's when it's going up to $1. So if you want to order it right now, it will be 25 cents. Okay. So if you want to wait for the Rosh Hashanah card, it's going to go up to $1.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I didn't realize we were running out of time. Let's quickly use the rest of our time as some ideas for Torah Fund events. So, Lynn?
No, this is not an event, but I can tell you what I do. I send a letter out to all of the women of the congregation, and it explains exactly what Torah Fund is, the 5 seminaries that it supports, it tells you to make your check out to Torah Fund, and it's already gone out, and I've already gotten some checks back already.
Congratulations, awesome. Anybody else want to share? Roslyn?
I do the same thing, and my letter has already gone out, and I've gotten a number of checks in with people saying to me, well, when are we getting the pins? So thank you. Now I know.
Sorry
one
about
of the things that worked when I first took over was, for whatever reason, everyone thought that Torah Fund, the seminaries, only was for rabbis. It only supported rabbis. And I did a lot of pushing. No, guys, it doesn't, and would go through everything. And that helped the donations, because people thought, hey, wait a minute, we don't want to just support rabbis. So that's another reason our numbers went up. We have once a year a luncheon, and we have a speaker. And the first few speakers that we had through the luncheons, we had a cantor, we had the director of Ramah in
That's very nice.
Wisconsin, who happened to have graduated from Ziegler, which is now AJU, but when I went there, because I'm from Los Angeles, it was University of Judaism, which was the other thing I kept saying to people, guys, I'm not a rabbi, not even close. Okay. But we've just had a bunch of different speakers, not rabbis.
Okay. Anybody else want to share?
In my letter, I make a point of saying it's not only rabbis, it's rabbis, cantors, teachers. We've helped build dormitories. I make a point of saying everything so that they know it's not just for rabbis.
Great. Ellen, I want to let you, you're unmuted.
Oh, I'm unmuted. Yes, last year we had a tea that was well attended, and it was a first for us. So that was exciting. And I'd be happy to share with anybody if they want information.
I would love information. And was it on a Sunday or?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I want to let Mindy go. Mindy?
I would love that information also. I have two questions. The letter that I think it was Lynn that you sent out, you said you send it to all the women in the congregation.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Not just the members of Sisterhood?
Yeah.
Well, the members of that's a good point. You know,
That's a problem.
yeah, I do. I send it out to all of the women of the congregation. However, this year I was thinking of going to the men's club because the Women's League sponsors it. But if you're talking about rabbis and cantors and teachers, those could be men too. And we on a rare occasion have had men who really liked the pin and became a member. So I was thinking of going to the big board in our synagogue and also the men's club to see if I could get some of the men to they don't need the cards or the pin, but donate to Torah Fund.
It's a wonderful idea.
I think that's terrific. That's terrific.
Yeah.
So
I think it's a problem that Torah Fund is kept as a secret. You know, just because Sister has to run it all doesn't mean that only comes from us. Comes from everybody.
Lynn,
So you guys, let me just wrap up because it's going to close in 30 seconds. So I'm going to send everybody's emails. We can become a group,
right?
And we can share things as a group. And I am happy to meet with anybody to talk about if you're having challenges. Please keep me posted. I'm happy to set up phone conferences. I'm happy to come to your congregations. Please invite Andrea and I to all your Torah Fund events if we can come. If there's a Zoom option, we will always be there if we can.
So welcome. I'm Debbie Lempert, and I am a consultant for Women's League, and I co-lead the Leadership Institute with Margie Miller. And the last 2 times ago, I led it with Carol Simon for her last hurrah. So this is an area that's kind of up my alley. So as I said, I'm a consultant for Women's League. I co-lead the Leadership Institute. I am also a Hebrew teacher for Women's League. I don't teach Hebrew, I teach fluency. I'm a member of Adith Israel congregation, a former Sisterhood president and congregation president. And I'm excited to be here with you today. So here's my contact information. I'll put it up again at the end. But enough about me. Let's talk about you. So if you'll share your name, what position you hold in your Sisterhood affiliate or the region or Women's League, and your favorite guilty pleasure. So I'm going to start with you, Amy Kurlansky.
Sure. I don't hold an office. This is my very first conference, so I'm hoping to learn a lot. And my favorite guilty pleasure, The Hallmark Channel.
Thank you for sharing, Amy. Terry? You have to unmute, Terry.
There we go. Hi, Debbie.
Hi, Terry.
My name is Terry Rifkin. I am part of a group that shares the presidency of the sisterhood with others. I think there are 4 of us, so we each do 3 months. I also have position on the board elsewhere as a for education this year. My favorite guilty pleasure. Well, I guess spending time with our puppy. Oh, he's 5 years old, not really a puppy. He's a golden.
Always a puppy, right?
Yes.
Thank you, Terry. Marlene.
Hi, Debbie. Hi, ladies. Shalom and Shavua Tov. My name is Marlene Ostro. I'm a proud member of Adat Israel Sisterhood, Debbie Lempert's sisterhood and congregation. Let's see. I was appointed to the International National Board to serve on the advisory committee for the JCPA, but basically I serve on the resolution committee. And I did membership work on the region board with individual members. And I co-chaired spring conference with Wanda Pitzley and Pam Schlossberg. And I am currently book club team lead and serve in the Judaica shop. So let's see, I'm happy to be here. Guilty pleasure, only one. We'll all combine it. Eating chocolate and playing mahjong with the girls and the ladies.
Thanks, Marlene. How about Ronnie?
I don't hold a position. I'm just a member of my sisterhood. My guilty pleasure, TV-wise, would be In the Kitchen with David on QVC. Don't ask me why. And then otherwise, going to shows, Broadway shows.
Have a favorite show?
My favorite show? What did I just see? I just saw Anne Juliet a couple weeks ago. That was really good. But the show that I've actually seen several times is La Cage aux Folles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing, ladies. All right, so we're going to talk about leadership in terms of what makes a good team member and how to deal with difficult situations, because you're all leaders. You're here. You've all done leadership type things in your life, maybe with part of your affiliate, part of another part of your life. But we're going to talk about what makes a successful team. What are we looking for successful team members? And then a little bit of what would you do? So I'm going to ask you, think back to high school or college. Do you remember having that group assignment project? Think back to high school when the teacher assigned you a project. If you enjoyed those group projects, show me a thumbs up or give me the thumbs up symbol. If you enjoyed group work. Yeah. If you disliked it, give me a thumbs down. If you were so-so about it, thumbs sideways. If you were the person in the group who liked to control the project to make sure that the group or you got a good grade, give me a thumbs up. That was me. If you were the person who didn't really care about the work, you just let everybody else take care of it, give me a thumbs up. If you were the person who was somewhere in the middle, give me a thumbs up. I remember my kids, I remember being in that position, my kids being in that position. we've all been there some point in our lives. I hope that by the time we're adults, that we are no longer struggling working as a group and having people not pull their weight, but it does happen sometimes. So today we're going to talk about what good qualities of team members help a group function well. I know you've been in groups, so I'm going to ask you, what qualities of team members help a group function well? You can just unmute yourself and call them out.
Listening.
Ah, thank you.
Enthusiasm.
Compromising.
Thank you. Others?
Showing appreciation.
Especially for volunteers. Others?
Organized.
Yes.
Completing the tasks you step up to do.
Be your word. Any others you can think of?
No judgment.
I'll share, had many of the ones I had. I'll share some ones with you that I came up with. Work well together. Have good time management skills. The group has a clear purpose, vision, achievable goals, and well-defined roles. Oh, I have time management twice. Have good problem-solving skills. There's actively listening. Thinking critically. Collaboration. Flexibility. Communicate effectively. Think creatively. Feeling safe and trusting. And I think that thanking and appreciation could go there as well. Feeling ownership. Those are some of the areas that I think is important for a team members to have. We got to know when you're working as a team, you have to know what the goal is. You have to have the defined roles. What's your job? It needs to almost be like a well-oiled machine with all the parts working together in unison and all of the members of the team using their strengths and their skills to get the job done. So celebrating success when you've achieved your goal, there's a real sense of ownership among the team members and feeling trusted and trusting, feeling safe in the group, being able to share when maybe times are hard, when things aren't going right. And I think it was Amy who said, when you step up to do something, completing it and saying you're dependable, you're committed to the task. So we're going to come back and revisit these in just a minute. Marlene, did you have a question?
No, I was stretching my sore wrist. Sorry.
So we're going to talk about a scenario. This is an activity, sounds good to me, mimosas and muffins. So I want you to think about good team members' qualities when you listen to this story about mimosas and muffins. And think about those qualities. Your sisterhood affiliate is having a new member mimosa and muffins event. You are assigned to the group to plan the event and report back to the president and the board. You and the other members meet for coffee at one of the team members' houses and start planning. A few outspoken women throw out and bat around ideas for which kind of muffins to serve, whether or not to have tea along with the mimosas and coffee, what color should the table decorations be, and whether to hold the event at the beginning of the religious school day or an hour before pickup. After much discussion back and forth, your group has run out of time and another meeting date is set to discuss further. Did these team members exhibit the quality of good team members? Did they have the skills that we came up with earlier? Let's take a look. So tell me your thoughts. Did they work well together?
Not particularly.
No. Ronnie, why do you think no?
Oh, because they never made a decision. They just kept passing back and forth ideas.
Do you
They
agree?
never.
Does everybody agree?
Yeah.
Did they have good time management skills?
Not at all.
No,
They
they
didn't get,
ran out of time.
Yeah. Did they have a clear purpose, vision, goals, and well-defined roles?
maybe in their mind, but not on paper, not as a group.
Did they have a purpose?
For the first meeting, just to meet, they didn't really say what, they didn't have an agenda. They didn't have goals set for the first meeting.
Right. And so it was kind of like a free-for-all almost. Do you think if they had had that, the meeting would have been more successful?
Probably.
Did they have good time management skills?
No, again, because they didn't have an agenda. And then they dove into the minutia before they got the 30,000-foot aerial goal, the vision set.
Do you, the rest of you agree?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did they have good problem-solving skills? Or did they need them at this point?
Well, they needed to decide if someone was taking leadership, if somebody was taking, this person who was taking leadership hadn't prepared with an agenda or what's it called, achievable goals for the first meeting, if not for the whole month or week.
It seems like they were just doing a lot of discussing. Were people actively listening?
To themselves.
We don't know. We weren't really there.
Right.
Did they think critically?
We don't know that.
Yeah, I mean, they thought very critically about what color the table decorations would be, but
Right.
it's hard to tell. Did they collaborate?
Yeah.
Not really.
Were they flexible?
No.
Maybe they were a little too flexible.
I mean, that's what I was gonna say. I think they were too flexible because they were all over the place.
Yep. Did they communicate effectively?
No.
No.
Did they think creatively?
No.
Not particularly. Well, they were creative about the colors, but it was the wrong
Okay.
time.
And do you think that the people attending the meeting felt safe and trusting?
Not at all.
Kind of hard to tell. How would you feel if you left this meeting?
Frustrated.
I think it was a waste of time.
I would be looking at who's in charge is what I would have asked. Like, there was nobody to keep us on task. I was once in a meeting with a friend of mine who ran it, and man, if you got off topic, she got you right back on it. It was really annoying, but we got work done. But I wish you would have been a little less strict. All right, let's take a look at this scenario. Hamantaschen baking. How many of you have been in a group Hamantaschen baking setting? All right. Your synagogue membership team put together a group to make Hamantaschen for upcoming Purim. You love to bake, so you volunteered to help. You also asked your friend who was new to the synagogue and an excellent baker to join you. When you arrived at the kitchen to bake, there were several stations set up in a production line. Dough making station, a rolling and cutting station, a filling and pinching station, and then the baking station. The person in charge asked you which station best matched your skills, so you joined the filling and pinching station. While there was a backup initially, the person in charge moved people around to other jobs to alleviate the backup, and soon things started moving quickly. And before you knew it, all the Hamantaschen had been formed and were going into the oven in batches. There was still some time left, so you hung around to help box the cookies when they cooled, talked with other women, some that you knew and some that you didn't, and then you left shortly after the event ended. Think about if these team members exhibited good qualities of good team members, and did they have the skills that we talked about? So let's see. Did they work well together?
Yes.
Can you give an example of how they worked well together?
Well, the person in charge, when there was a backup, moved people around so it would be a better flow.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did they have good time management skills?
Yes, because preparation, what they didn't wait till everybody got there and then say, okay, here's the station and whatever. Pre-planning.
Pre-planning. Did they have a clear purpose, vision, achievable goals, and well-defined roles?
Yes.
Yeah, I loved that there were stations already set up. Oh, sorry, that one repeated. Did they have good problem-solving skills?
The leader did when there was a backup,
Yeah.
a bottleneck,
Was there active listening?
presumably.
Yeah.
Can you think back into the story where someone listened actively? We'll come back to it. You may pick it up after was there critical thinking going on?
Yeah. Before, during, and after.
Yep. Thinking ahead as to how to make it run more smoothly with those stations. Did they collaborate?
Yeah.
Was there flexibility?
Yeah, when they move from one station to another.
Did they communicate effectively?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they think creatively?
Yeah.
The leader, we didn't really get an insight into what the workers were doing. Was it a safe and trusted feeling there?
Must have.
Let's go back to the communication. I skipped over that one. There was a big key in here to that feeling safe and trusted and communicating effectively. Think about what the leader asked when they first came in.
Oh, to self-select.
Right. What are you good at? What area do you want to work in? And that required active listening. Because the person running it had to listen to what people were saying, what they wanted to do. And just feeling like, hey, someone cared about what worked for me. Do you think that the people felt ownership?
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
Terry, what gave you the feeling that they felt, the people working on the team felt ownership?
They seem to feel pride in what they were doing.
Any others? Did you see any
Well,
other?
by choosing their own station, they were acting on their skills, abilities, interests, and had the freedom to choose. Self-select.
I also think when she stuck around at the end, she could
That's
have
what I
just
was gonna
left,
say.
but she felt a part of the group. Do you feel a difference between mimosas and muffins versus Hamantaschen baking?
Oh, definitely.
Which would you
Mhm.
rather be involved in?
The Hamantaschen.
I'm
Wait.
sure I would love to eat mimosas and muffins, but as a group, I think the Hamantaschen baking definitely felt different. Before we go on, I just wanted to ask, do you have any questions or any comments so far?
I think managing expectations might be part of the process also with the whole pre-planning. Like, does the sisterhood have a history of doing this? And do they know that, if the oven's too hot or if it's not working, or there's another event going on in the kitchen or there's something going on afterward that everybody in the community is going to? I mean, having pre-planning and having managed expectations, like if somebody has to leave early and they told you ahead of time, then you don't feel like all of a sudden a team member like wigged out on you and left. So that's trust and open communication and managing expectations. They weren't trying to make for competition, to win. It's not a prize for the best Hamantaschen, but just to do them, build a team, get the job done and have fun.
So interestingly, I wanted to talk about what makes a good team member, because as a leader, it's important to understand what a good team looks like, sounds like, and feels like, so that you as a leader can recognize ahead of time what it takes, but while you're in it, while you're leading a group, what it should feel like, look like, and sound like. All right. So we're going to play a little What Would You Do? John Quinones is not going to come on and ask you what you would do, but I don't know if you've ever seen that show where he sets up a scene and then watches how people react and then talks to them. But We'll play a little what would you do here. Sandy and Lila are on the same planning team for the upcoming sisterhood installation. As co-chairs, they meet ahead of the team to talk about how they might organize the event. Sandy had a slew of ideas that just came spilling out of her. Lila tried to interject her thoughts, but Sandy kept interrupting her and sharing more thoughts. Near the end of time, Sandy said, well, it looks like we've got it all settled. I'll present what we've decided to the team when we meet next week. Lila was dumbfounded, as she didn't agree with most of what Sandy had proposed. What would you do if you were Lila?
I would cool down and then talk to her again. I would take a deep yoga breath or 10. And then I would maybe come up with some structure and then talk about the need for them to be we instead of I, the E in the team, not just the I, and that if the two of them weren't on the same page, you're not going to have a book or any event. So I guess it would be to step back and regroup and diplomatically remind her that you didn't want to take away from her energy and ideas and stuff, but you really hadn't come to joint collaboration, and that might require flexibility, collaboration, and compromise.
Thank you, Marlene. Any other ideas about how to, what you do with this mess?
I like Marlene's idea.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I mean, there's a great graphic Margie Miller shared with me where, you know, it's, you don't want one person wins and one person loses. What you're ideally looking for is a win-win, so that both Lila and Sandy could come up with a solution, something together where one person isn't winning and one person isn't losing, but both of their ideas are accepted. That was a little bit of the harder one. I started off hard. Let's talk
I guess
about,
you could also you could give, I'm sorry, it was Sandy and Lila?
Yeah.
You could give Sandy a mimosa before Lila comes back to her. That's a different way of coping.
yeah, I mean, it's a tough situation, and you know, it takes delicate conversation. We don't really know much about Sandy, her personality, but I can imagine. But I thank you for sharing those ideas. Let's talk about communication. Marcy, head of the rummage sale team, that's a tough job, emails 3 volunteers who signed up to help her. She gets frustrated when no one responds to her emails. She runs into them at Starbucks. If you were Marcy, what would you do? So these
Make
three.
sure that they.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Carrie.
Make sure that they received your communication, whether it was email or whatever.
So let's play that out a little bit. So she asked them and they said, I didn't get anything from you. Then what?
Oh, well, let me send it again. What's the best way to, do I have your correct email? What's the best way to get the message to you?
I love that, Terry. It's about finding out what's the best way to communicate. You know, you also have to know the generation. There's a phone call generation. It's generalization. The email, the text. How do people want to be communicated with? Okay, did you want to comment on it, Ronnie?
No, that's what I was going to say. Make sure you have the right way to contact them.
Okay, so let's say, yeah, I did get your email. I'm sorry I didn't respond. Then what?
Well, then you follow up with it in person because you have their undivided attention. And you said, I was thinking about, getting us together, Cafe Alma or, Deeper Roots, and want to know your availability, time of day or week of day, whatever. And looking forward to, working with you and whoever the other ladies are.
Great ideas, ladies. Thinking creatively. It was once again time for Sisterhood's annual Torah Fund event. Since the pandemic, the event had followed the exact same outline. This year, Marcia suggested they shake things up a little and try something new. She suggested several new ideas. A few members of the team piped up with, "But we've always done it that way." What would you do?
Tell them to delete that, that sentence from their vocabulary for the rest of their life.
I think
Margie
it takes,
Miller, go ahead, I'm sorry.
oh, I was gonna say, I think it takes some diplomacy because some people really have a more fixed mindset that like what's always worked will continue to work, and other people bring a rejuvenated energy to activities, pandemic or not. But the pandemic seemed to heighten some of those changes.
So what do you say, Amy? What do you verbally respond to that?
I mean, personally, because I've heard that sentence a lot, like that's great, and we can always revisit what's worked traditionally, but we might be able to try some new activities as well. But it depends on who's participating and how open and flexible they are. So you almost have to gauge the group to see if they're going to even be open to a new idea or a new method to do something. It's not quite so cut and dry. Does that make sense?
Right. Well, it says just a few members pipe up. So I get the sense that there are some flexible people. It's just a couple of those women who show that inflexibility. I love your idea of, the diplomacy, diplomatically saying, "Hey, it's great that it's worked. Let's try something else. We can always come back to that next year." Any other ideas?
Well, they could talk about why it was successful or what they liked about it. They're kind of breaking it down instead of just saying automatic, let's just do every year tour fund. They could say, I loved the video montage. They could say, I, loved holding it in this other space,
I love that idea, finding out what it is that's so sentimental to them.
I mean, to really address their concern by having them label it, identify it, and then find out how you could possibly keep part of it the essence, like when kids outgrow their what are they called, their blankies, if you've had 3, whatever, that I just read in a book that I'm reading that the father suggested the kid was 6 or 7, that he have a little square of it and keep it in his pocket. So he would still have that blankie, but it wasn't this total dependency. It was this dirty rag being schlepped along, but it was addressing his child's need.
I love it. I love that, getting to the core of why they feel the way they do. Because I don't really think most people are just trying to be overly stubborn. I just think there's some emotional connection. I know Margie shared with the Leadership Institute that she once went to a group, I think it was a synagogue group, and every time somebody used the phrase, "But we've always done it that way," money, a significant amount of money, not $1, but something more significant went in the jar. And when she went back to revisit a year later, they didn't have the jar because they'd broken the habit of saying that. I think we don't always recognize when we get stuck. And that type of thinking that you're bringing up, both of you, is very helpful. Let's talk about feeling safe. Diane was really looking forward to attending her Synagogue Sisterhood's meet and greet. She'd heard some great things about sisterhood and thought she might give it a try. She was really nervous, though. Would she know anyone? Would anyone talk to her? When Diane arrived at the event, most of the women were talking in small groups. No one seemed to notice her. Diane got a drink and stood around for a little while. Then she helped herself to a few appetizers. Still no one talked to her. After an hour, she left. The following week at Shabbat morning services, one of the sisterhood women who had been at the meet and greet asked her if she had a good time. Diane said, "No, I certainly didn't. I was there for 30 minutes and no one bothered to talk to me. I'm done with sisterhood." What would you do?
I would have a little chat with the membership and the entire board about how you can have a meet and greet and not have people doing what the task and the goal is for the day. I'm guessing that there weren't hundreds of people and they just didn't get to her. But it's an internal problem to be solved. And then you have to communicate to her about how profusely sorry and not to judge, you know, the whole sisterhood based on, you know, the one incident.
Thank
I was
you.
gonna
Yeah.
say the same thing, not like to try and encourage her to return and, you know, just me being me. And I know a lot of you would do the same thing. Like the next time she was there, to make sure that I saw her and introduced her around if I knew people so that she would be comfortable. Because a lot of people do quit activities after just one negative experience, and they should give it a second chance.
How do you get her back, Amy? Because she says, I'm
I
not
mean, if it were my friend who said that to me, I mean, I would make sure that she and I went together the next time so that she would definitely at least know me. And hopefully that would be enough. It might not be, she might be done. I've used that technique in the past when in other organizations, like, okay, well, if you go back, I promise I'll go with you. And then you meet up with that person and make sure that they go. Otherwise, I don't know how you get her back in the door.
Yeah. You know, I'm thinking about, so now that the person she talked to at Shul was there, but I think the leadership definitely needs to know. Does Diane have any responsibility in this situation?
Yes, because she didn't put herself out there. And
I don't want to do victim blaming, but did she have a responsibility on her end at all? I'm just curious your thoughts.
I mean, on some level, I mean, she might have been an introvert, quiet, nervous, but that's what the bar was for. I mean, on some level, you can't always expect, I mean, yes, on some level, she had responsibility to figure out if it wasn't working, to do something different. I mean, clearly the meet and greet and the membership and the board weren't doing their job, but
some people just aren't comfortable going up to people they don't know and saying anything. I have no trouble with that, but other people may not. So, you know, it sounds like it's a culture thing. I mean, we get comfortable talking to our friends when we're together and just remembering that not everybody in the room knows each other. So these were just some kind of fun scenarios as leaders, things to keep our eyes out for, to be aware, to be observing, because there's a whole leadership course called that I help run, Leadership Institute, where we go over a lot of leadership qualities. But it's important to not just be a leader, but to be a good team member as well. So hopefully you've percolated a little bit through your head. You'll think about it at your next event, something you run, something you attend. I wanted to put my information back up there for you. Sorry about that. I want to hear I'm going to leave it up there for a minute, but I want to hear your thoughts, comments, concerns, challenges. Maybe you have a leadership question, a team member question. Marlene?
well, I guess during the last decade or so, it's probably been more than 20 years, but the whole world in terms of business in the corporate world has been focused on, you know, user experience, you know, client. What does our client need? What does user experience need? What does the user need? So it might not be a bad idea for leaders to think about, what do our members need? Or what do our prospective members need? I mean, like the role playing in your mind, if you're not going to do it necessarily at a membership training session, but coming to the door. I mean, it's hard to walk into the room. So maybe having your most extroverted or outgoing or, you know, people over people, you know, by that door. And then maybe doing some tiny due diligence about the new person. I mean, somebody knew her. She lives in a neighborhood. They have a backstory. You know, it's not that different from like a job interview. You wouldn't go to a job interview cold, but it's not exactly the same thing. But I think in thinking in terms of, what does a prospect need? They need to feel comfortable. They need to feel welcome. They need somebody to talk to. They need to learn about this group. They need to see if there's anybody else that they know. They need to share their interests and desires. So the whole idea about what does the member need becoming the entire board, not the membership department's responsibility, obligation, and privilege. So thinking in terms of what did I need, 30 years ago or 25 years ago when I first walked into the door to a sisterhood meeting. Was it because someone invited me? Was it because someone talked to me? Was it all the above? Did they have information about what kind of programs were coming up? Did I see somebody come from
Well, it's interesting because, and that is something we do talk about at Leadership Institute, is you really need to know the people on your team, and you need to know what their strengths are and how they operate, and putting the person who's introverted more so at the door to greet people is probably it's not going to be as comfortable for her, and that might not be her strength, versus putting somebody who's super friendly and outgoing. Amy?
Well, I was going to say thank you for the scenarios, because I think that they put different techniques into play. I know, and it's probably a whole hour of just private consultation, but in different organizations that I've been in, I know that succession planning has been a thing. And it's been a while, but there have been a number of organizations that I've been involved in the area, and within the Jewish community and outside. And like, it was even 10 years ago when I was the youngest person in the room, and I should not have been the youngest person in the room at that time. And a lot of those organizations were not open to like succession planning or even talking about it. People were very set in their ways, and that's fine if that works. But at some point, you're going to have some younger membership to like keep things going, or that's a problem. The other thought that I had was regarding inspiring team members, because Debbie, when you said group projects, like, I hate that. It makes me cringe, because I wasn't the kid who automatically took charge of the committee, because I don't care that much, but I was not going to fail either. So it meant taking on extra work without delegation, because other people were like, oh, if you're going to do it, then I'm not. So while I don't personally have the take over the committee personality, I am not going to allow everyone to not succeed. So that, a workshop on like how you delegate to the appropriate people to inspire them to do everything so that everyone succeeds is a very, I think, impactful lesson to learn as well. Does that make sense? It made sense in my head, I promise.
I agree with you. And Marlene, back to your point, I remember when the Rabbi Emeritus at Adath Israel, when this whole idea of the customer was very big. A rabbi struggled with that. He said they're not customers. And it's like, they're customers. I was kind of newish on the board, and it really is. I mean, our Women's League members are our customers. We're not selling them anything, but they have needs to be met. And if we're not meeting the needs of our women, they're not going to stay with us. And it's it's the idea of, it was said earlier about appreciating. I think, Terry, you said that, about appreciating them. It's knowing the women we work with, their strengths, their challenges, how to best help them grow. Amy, your idea of transition leadership. I've done membership presentations before. This, I don't know if you can see it, fingers crossed, is not a good strategy. It doesn't work for just about anything. And that if we want to build new leaders, it's a long process, and it's a very diligent and deliberate process. Just like anything, you need committee members. They aren't going to come out of a hat just because you wish them to be there. It really is a process of identifying who are the women that you want to get involved, and starting very step-by-step motion, getting them to come to an event, getting them to help with a small part at an event, and slowly bringing them up. But that takes time, and it really takes planning, and a good leader has to really have some good goal set and a strategy how to reach those. So I don't know how much longer we have, but we have a little while. If anybody else has any leadership challenges, questions, I'd be happy to try to tackle them with you.
This is from another organization. Can I ask you a question? When you see somebody on your board talking rudely and disrespectfully to the president and or to other board members, either in person on a Zoom call, best way and who should handle that? This is a new thing for me that I am experiencing, and just thought I'd pick your brain. Sorry,
Well,
ladies.
if there is, I don't know if your board, if that group board does a Devar Torah of any kind or I know a group I'm involved in is a mission moment, whatever you want to call it, somebody to speak on that as a Devar or a little talk about, try to fit it into from the Torah portion this week about, how it feels when, people are not necessarily respectful, because sometimes you don't want to address the person directly, but if you can talk about it from the vantage point of the Torah portion or a short Devar, about how that feels to the group, how that might feel to the leader. I'm sure you can find something in the Torah somewhere that addresses it, that talks about the group dynamics, how it affects, that hopefully that person would see it.
See themselves in those
Right.
comments.
Not always. It's amazing how people don't necessarily see it in themselves. But then I think the president would need to address that. But I think if there's a way to go around about through a teaching,
Great suggestion. Duly noted and note taken. Thanks, team, for letting me digress.
so we have 5 more minutes. Any other challenging leadership, burning thoughts or questions? I do encourage you, if you're interested, to attend a leadership institute in the future. People attend for all different reasons. It's just a great way to meet women, first of all. Women of our Women's League, really builds community, but really helps you develop your personal skills. It's not necessarily just Women's League, just sisterhood. A lot of the skills we deal with are with just personal development. But I've really enjoyed talking to you guys. I mean, we're all here because we're leaders. You wouldn't be here if you didn't step up to do something in your sisterhood. We talk in the Leadership Institute about, what leadership roles have you had? And some women will say, oh, I've never done anything. Did you ever plan a Seder? Did you ever order out Chinese dinner for a group? I mean, those all take leadership qualities to be able to do those things. So we're all leaders. We just lead in our different ways. And I forgot to have us share, so let's do that at the end. Where are you located? What city and state and sisterhood? Ronnie, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'm in Rockford, Illinois, and I'm with Ohav Shalom Sisterhood.
With Terry?
Yep, with Terry.
Sorry, Terry, I stole your thunder. Go ahead.
My turn?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yes, I'm delighted to be in sisterhood with Ohav Shalom Sisterhood with Ronnie, and we're in Rockford, Illinois, Congregation Ohav Shalom. It's a really nice group. It's a small group.
Small, yeah.
But
small but mighty.
Hey.
Small but mighty. We actually do a lot.
That's wonderful. Marlene shared where she's from, but I'll give you another chance.
Hi, I'm from Adath Israel, which is in Cincinnati, Ohio.
She forgot to tell you that she's a past sisterhood president.
Oh, yeah. Thanks,
Yeah,
Deb. She keeps me honest.
And
I'm looking to the future, not the past. But we're lucky to have Debbie among our midst and among our friends. So
How about
thanks.
Amy?
Well, Marlene and Debbie are both the past and the future. So there you go, Marlene. You are still looking to the future. So I'm also from Cincinnati, Addith Israel congregation, and I participate in the book club that Marlene is the chair, one of the chair people of, and she does an amazing job.
Thanks, Amy. You coming on the 27th?
I'm planning on it on Zoom, of course, but I'm planning on it.
That's great. So we'll
I'm
just share.
super mad that I decided to do Zoom for the last book club because I didn't know my copy was signed by one of the authors. And so if I had been there with him there, I would have had both of their signatures on my copy. So I'm
Well, I
kind
know
of,
how to reach him if you'd like to have coffee with him.
yes, I might have to do that.
But for Terry and Ronnie, we're reading the Goddess of Warsaw. If you're interested in a great read.
Okay.
I'm listening to it now. It keeps, I think we've come to like the end and then another thing.
Yep. Another twist and turn the plot.
Yeah. So they'll be calling us back shortly, but ladies, it's been wonderful to see you.
Thank you for your great presentation, Deb.
Terry and I were in Hebrew class together long ago. It seems like a long time ago, Terry, maybe what, a year ago? 2 years ago?
I don't remember. But
Who was your teacher?
at when?
I was the teacher.
Oh, okay.
Terry
Oh, the
was
adult Hebrew classes,
adult Hebrew class. So,
the women's league.
well, ladies, thank
we're
you.
coming
And
back.
I don't know if we're going back or if we're done. We'll find out. But have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks, Deb.
Thank you, Debbie.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
The marvels of technology, Debbie.
It's truly
Good,
amazing.
good afternoon from Oakley to Wyoming to you and Gilda in Wyoming as well. And let me see, I'm not sure. And oh, Marlene is in Kenwood. And Lisa's somewhere in Blue Ash.
Here they come.
Hi, Debbie. Ilana, I'm in the car.
Hi, Ilana. Are you back home?
We are on the road.
On the road again. I
And
miss
we're
you.
heading back from we were at the beach and then we went to Chicago to see our daughter, and now we are heading back to Michigan. We're in Michigan, but then heading home.
Well, let's
Safe travel.
Safe travels, Alana. Miss Pam.
Thank you. My husband thanks you. Bye.
Hi, Alana. Sending hugs from Cincy. It's Lisa.
So everyone, I want to thank you all. I want to thank you all for attending today. Unfortunately, we lost Rabbi Jaffe before I could thank her, but we have made a contribution to Torah Fund in her honor with our thanks. I appreciate you all coming. I know you have many choices on how to spend your afternoon, and I'm so glad you chose to be with us today. Maybe I've been on a few too many airplanes lately, but thank you all for coming. And feel free, stay, chat. We'll be here as long as you want us to be.
Is Bonnie Bloom still on?
Thank you.